Welcome to our deep dive into AI and e-commerce. I think it's fascinating how AI is being used to predict everything, like what we buy and, how businesses run their whole operations.
Yeah, it really is.
So that's exactly what we're going to unpack today and hopefully give you some insights into this crazy world.
I think the best way to think about AI in e-commerce is to think about how it's changing the game for businesses.
Yeah.
Like imagine a company like Amazon.
Right.
They have millions of customers, millions of products. How do they even make sure the right products are getting to the right people at the right time?
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of data to deal with. That's where AI comes in, right?
Exactly. AI is like a superpowered assistant that can analyze mountains of data that would take humans years to go through.
Right.
And it's not just about your past purchases. It's looking at your browsing history,
Yeah.
what others are buying, even social media trends to try to predict what you might want to see next.
Oh, wow. So it's like AI is making like a personalized roadmap for each shopper, like guiding them to the products they're going to buy.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
It's like having a personal shopper who knows your taste better than you do. But it's not just reacting to your past behavior. It's trying to anticipate what you'll want in the future.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say you're scrolling through social media and you see a post about some new fitness trend, right? A few days later, you start seeing ads for workout gear and fitness trackers. That's AI at work, connecting those dots and figuring out you might be interested in that.
Okay, that is a little bit spooky, but I gotta admit, it's pretty impressive. And I bet a lot of people don't even realize that's happening,
It's true. But, let's zoom out for a second. AI goes way beyond just recommending stuff.
Sure.
Think about like inventory for a second. Like imagine a company with thousands or millions of products.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track of all that and like predict how much of each thing to have and dealing with returns, making sure things don't go out of stock. It seems impossible.
It does sound like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. And that's where AI comes in again. AI can analyze past sales data and look at current trends, even like weather patterns, to try to predict what people will want. It's crazy how accurate it can be.
Yeah.
And that helps businesses make sure they have enough of a product or not too much.
Oh, so it helps them optimize their inventory.
Exactly.
Wow, so it helps the business, and it keeps me from getting annoyed when something's out of stock.
Exactly. It's all about making a smoother, better experience for everyone. But AI in e-commerce is even more complex than that.
Really? Tell me more. I'm all ears.
Okay, so have you heard about dynamic pricing?
Yeah.
It's another area where AI is having a huge impact. Imagine prices that change all the time based on demand competition, even the time of day.
Like I've seen that with airline tickets and stuff. The price goes up if it's a busy time.
You got it.
Okay.
And AI is doing that. It's constantly checking the market and changing prices to make sure businesses stay competitive, but also offer fair prices.
So AI is behind the scenes controlling prices. That's so interesting. Like there's so much going on that we don't even see.
That's the power of AI. It's making our online shopping experience so much better without us even knowing. But of course, there are some challenges too.
Well, let's talk about those. What kind of problems do businesses run into when they're trying to use AI?
Yeah, sure.
So we talked about all the great things about AI, but there's got to be a downside, right? What are some of the challenges?
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the biggest ones is the data itself. Like AI algorithms are only as good as the data they're trained on.
Makes sense.
So if the data is messed up or biased, the results could be way off.
Yeah.
Bad recommendations, wrong predictions, even unfair prices.
So it's not just about having a ton of data. It's got to be good data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be a big problem for companies. It's not just about collecting the data. You got to clean it, organize it, make sure it actually makes sense for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to predict fashion trends using data from 10 years ago.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
It's like trying to bake a cake with ingredients that are way past their expiration date. You might get something, but it's not going to be good. And then there's the problem of actually getting AI to work with the systems they already have.
Right.
Like a lot of e-commerce platforms aren't built for AI. So companies have to spend a lot of money and time upgrading and customizing everything. It's a pain.
So it's not just like flipping a switch. You need a lot of prep work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's complicated. You need to plan, invest, get the right people involved. And speaking of people, that's another challenge. Finding people who actually know how to do this stuff.
Oh, right. Because AI is so new?
Exactly. There just aren't enough people who know how to work with it.
Yeah.
So even if a business has the money, they might not be able to find the right people to make it happen.
So it sounds like there are some serious challenges, but I'm still excited about the potential of AI. What do you think the future looks like for AI and e-commerce?
Oh, the future is definitely exciting.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see even more personalized shopping experiences. Like AI will be able to predict what we need and pick out products just for us. Imagine your online shopping experience is like having a personal stylist who knows your style budget.
Wow, that would be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, is there a point where it's too personalized? Like, when does it go from helpful to creepy?
That's a great question. And it's something that people are really thinking about as AI gets more advanced. It's all about finding that balance between personalization and privacy. Like, imagine being able to control what data you share with stores and what kind of recommendations you get. Maybe you're fine with sharing your browsing history, but not your location. Or maybe you just don't want any personalized ads at all.
Right, that makes sense. Giving people more control over their data would definitely make them feel better about it. But I also wonder about the human side of things. Will we get to a point where everything's so automated that we lose that personal touch?
That's another good point. I think AI can automate a lot of things, but it'll never completely replace humans. Like, think about customer service. AI chatbots can handle the basic stuff, but for complicated problems or when you need someone to actually understand your situation, you still need a human.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's about finding the right way for them to work together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can both make online shopping better.
Yeah.
AI can do the data and automation stuff, and humans can focus on the things that need creativity and problem solving and, emotional intelligence.
That's a really cool way to think about the future. But I'm sure some people are worried about AI. What about people who are scared of losing their jobs or of AI getting too powerful?
I get it. Those are real concerns. And it's true that some jobs might be replaced by AI as it gets smarter. But it's also important to remember that AI is going to create new jobs too, like in AI development, data analysis, AI ethics.
So it's not really about job losses, but about the types of jobs changing.
Right. And as for AI becoming too powerful, I think the important thing is to remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us to use it the right way. We need to be responsible and ethical.
So human oversight and ethics are key. That's a lot to think about. This deep dive has really made me think differently about AI and e-commerce. It's not just about recommendations. It's this whole complex system of data algorithms and human decisions.
And we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to learn about this. This is just a starting point.
All right, so to wrap up this part of our discussion, I want to leave you with something to think about. As AI becomes a bigger part of online shopping, what do you want its role to be? Are you excited about personalized shopping and convenience? Or are you worried about your privacy and losing the human element of shopping? We'll be back in a minute to continue our deep dive. It really is a lot to take in. I feel like I'm just starting to grasp all the ways AI is changing how we shop online. But, before we get too futuristic, you were saying that companies like Amazon and Zalando are already using this stuff.
Yeah.
How does that actually work?
Yeah, so you're right. Let's look at some real examples. So Amazon, right, they're like the classic AI recommendation engine. Like their customer who bought this also bought, that thing.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of AI looking at what people are buying and suggesting other things. But it's not just about single purchases. They're analyzing huge amounts of data about how products relate to each other.
No.
So like if you buy a book about gardening, they might recommend other gardening books, but also tools, gloves, even bird feeders. It's like they're figuring out your interests in this really broad way.
Wow, so it's like AI is connecting these random things that I wouldn't think of and anticipating what I might want. It's kind of freaky.
It's pretty mind-blowing. What about Zalando? Have you heard about what they're doing?
Yeah, I know they're big on fashion recommendations. What's different about them?
So Zalando's doing some really cool stuff with inventory management. They're using AI to predict how much of a certain item they'll need. Like they look at seasons and trends, even the weather. That way they can avoid having too much or too little of something. And they also use AI to give personalized discounts and promotions, like they target different groups of customers with specific offers.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about what they recommend. It's about making the whole business run better, like a well-oiled machine.
Exactly.
I wonder how they measure whether this is actually working. Like, can they tell if AI is actually making them more money?
That's a good question, and it's something any business using AI has to figure out. Luckily, there are ways to measure the return on investment. They can track things like conversion rates, how much people are spending, and customer lifetime value to see how AI is affecting sales and customer loyalty. They can also look at inventory turnover rates and fulfillment costs to see how efficient their operations are.
So it's not just about AI being cool. It's about making a real difference for the business.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they need to see that it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I think it goes beyond just numbers. It's about making shopping better for customers. When AI is done right, it makes everything so smooth and personalized.
Yeah, I think that's what's so exciting about AI. It can make things better for businesses and shoppers. We've covered so much in this deep dive, personalization, inventory management, even the ethical side of things. So as we wrap up, what's the one big takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that AI is just a tool. Like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways. It's up to all of us, consumers, business leaders, everyone, to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly. We need to be aware of how it might affect our privacy, our jobs, our whole society. But we should also be excited about the potential of AI to make our lives easier, more efficient, and maybe even more fulfilling.
That's a really powerful message to end on. AI is a powerful force, but we have the power to shape how it's used. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and e-commerce. We hope you learned something new and feel ready to navigate this exciting and ever-changing world.